What transpired on Day Bold and THA Beautiful for Zende? Forrester is Zende on Day Bold and THA Beautiful, albeit some more recent admirers may not fully understand his history. Really, who is Zende Forrester Dominguez? Now let's fill in the details. The role was portrayed by young actor Daniel Smith for almost a year, beginning with the character's 2001 debut on B&B. He played the same part again in 2005, but by the time the character returned to the screen in 2015, Zende had grown into an adult and was portrayed by Rome Flynn. After leaving the soap opera in 2017, LZende Metz took over as Zende, and the character reappeared in October 2020. While on their honeymoon in Africa, Kristen Forrester and Tony Dominguez misplaced a roll of film and subsequently developed a strong friendship with the young kid who found it for them. They were horrified to hear that Zende had been left an orphan when both of his parents passed away from AIDS, and that his brother had also passed away from the same illness while they were living in the orphanage. When Kristen and Tony found out that Zende would probably wind up on the streets when he grew too old to live in the orphanage, they got concerned. Tony and Kristen told each other that they couldn't stop thinking about Zende once they got back to Los Angeles. Tony, who was also diagnosed as HIV+, felt a particular bond with Zende. They took the boys' last names and headed back to Africa to begin the adoption process. For a while, Zende resided in Los Angeles with Tony and Kristen as part of the larger Forrester family before they moved to Florida. In 2005, he and his mother made a brief stay back in Los Angeles before heading back home. After making his own way back to Los Angeles in 2015, Zende started an internship with Forrester Creations. He fell in love with Nicole Yvonne, a fellow intern, right away, and after Thomas Forrester kissed her, he eventually approached her. Their romance, however, was put on hold when she consented to serve as a surrogate in order for her sister Maya Yvonne and her husband Rick Forrester to become parents. Zende broke up with Nicole, fearing that the pregnancy would separate them, and went to bed with Sasha, Nicole's friend, who had been chasing him nonstop. Zende wanted to get back together with Nicole after she gave birth, but Sasha said she was expecting. Fortunately, that turned out to be a lie, and he and Nicole made their first love together. Sadly, Zende went into a drunken spiral after Nicole considered acting as Rick and Maya's surrogate a second time. He whisked Sasha off to Hawaii, and when they got back home, Nicole discovered them in bed together. Nicole had already been burnt by Zende on several occasions, so she was not having any of his attempts at an apology or a proposal. Nicole eventually gave in to Zende's advances after he made an elaborate proposal in a carriage driven by a horse. On Valentine's Day of 2017, the pair eventually were married in a stunning ceremony at the Forrester mansion. Nicole was devastated to hear that she might never be able to conceive again, but Zende persuaded her to resist the urge from her father, Julius Savant, to take Lizzie away from Rick and Maya. Zende relocated to Paris with Nicole when a position at Forrester International opened up. However, Lizzie had started referring to Nicole as Mama, so Zende had no idea that Maya had set up the position. Nevertheless, he believed that it would be a new beginning for them both. After his marriage to Nicole broke down, Zende went to Los Angeles by himself in September 2020. And even though Zoe Buckingham and Carter Walton had just started dating, she wasted no time in making overtures to the attractive young Forrester. When Zoe hurled herself at Zende when she was engaged to Carter, he even shifted his attention to Paris Zende Buckingham, fell in love
Zoe's
with Paris,
sister,
and asked Quinn Forrester to create an engagement ring for him, despite his original desire to take things slowly so as not to lose their relationship. But just as he was ready to pop the question, Carter Walton warned her not to, so Zoe began gushing about how much she loved being single. Broken-hearted, Zende made an ill-advised attempt at dating a Forrester model, but she had suspicions that Paris was seeing someone else. When Grace Buckingham got to town, she was mortified that she had fallen in love with Carter and did her best to bring Zende and Paris back together. Zende encouraged Paris to follow her feelings for Carter after she revealed them, and he later did the same for Carter. And Zende refused Grace's insistence that they call off the wedding after Carter asked her out. He was in fact there at the wedding, and Zende took a devastated Paris home when Quinn turned up to confess her love for Carter. Zende worked at Forrester Creations and kept his head down for a while until venting his anger following the major fashion showdown in November 2023. He expressed his displeasure at being overlooked to Eric Forrester and the recently returned RJ Forrester so that the latter might collaborate on his show's collection to Ridge Forrester. He countered that RJ had never intended to work in fashion and that he was also Eric's grandson. Keep watching to find out what happens next. Thanks for watching my video.